Good morning. Welcome to the program for problem solving. So in Unit 1, this is my first video lecture on structure of C programming language. So structure of C programming language depicts the how do you write C programming language. Before writing a C programming language, you should know what are the parts that should be constitute a C programming language. So we will see one by one. This structure will differ from the inbuilt structure that we will see in 5th unit. That is different, entirely different. This is overall structure of a given C program. If you know already, every C program must have an extension, file extension called .c. So for example, if you want to save a file sample.c, so the C is the file extension for a C program. So in that C program file, how each part of the C program organized that depicts the structure of the C program. So the first one is documentation part. So already in the comment section, we need to know what are the types of comments, COMMENTs, not comments, comments. What are the comments? Syntax is available for C language. One is / for single line comment and /* sequence of text sentences spawning into multiple lines and ended with the //. That is for multiple line comments. So you know that one. By using that comments, we can create the documentation section for understanding about the program, what it will be going to do. That instruction can be given as in the text format, so that the new user who reads the C file can understand what it will be going to do. That purpose we are using the documentation part. So before seeing all those sections of or structures of C program, what are the rules we need to follow to write the C program? You know, C is a case sensitive language. That means the lowercase and uppercase are different. So be careful in choosing the variables. So lowercase and uppercase are different. That's why all statements should be written in the lowercase letters. That is, it is not the mandatory rule, but it is usually followed one. All statements should end with the semicolon. So all these statements, executable statements that you are going to use inside the main, that should be ended with the semicolon. Okay. Uppercase letters are used for symbolic constants. So for example, pi, pi, you know the value of pi, pi equal to 3.14. So we can use the uppercase letters to declare the symbolic constants in your C program. Then blank space can be inserted between words. Blank spaces in the sense, suppose if you want to include some string constants, then at that time you can use the blank space. But when you declare the variable names, you should not use the blank space. No blank space while declaring a variable, keyword or constants. Okay, that is very important. So these are all some rules need to be followed while writing a C program. So now we will go to the structure of the C program. So this, you can see the program displayed on the screen. So the first one, first line, program to find area of circle. So the /* and the end with the // that indicates the comments. So this part is called the documentation part. So here it is only one line, but in company's side, since the program is written for solving complex logics, they have explained everything in detail about the program in the comment section or the documentation section. Then the next two stage instructions, can you see that one? Hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h. These are all called the preprocessor directives. What does it mean is, preprocessor directive is a separate component before the compiler actually executing the C program, getting the C program from the memory, that is the secondary memory, and loaded into primary memory and execute it. Then it converts the C program, that is a high level language program, our C program, will be converted into object program by the compiler. So this part will be applicable only for including certain inbuilt libraries for the purpose of executing the C program. Say, for example, in your program, you may use some standard input-output statements for printing or reading purposes. So those standard inbuilt functions are stored in stdio.h. So this is standard input-output header file. A .h indicates the header file, like .c indicates the C file. So the header file contains a lot of functions, inbuilt functions that can be utilized by the programmer to meet the requirement. So if you want to use those statements or those functions, then we can go for the preprocessor directives. So before executing this program, so this should be started with the first line of this C program after the documentation section. So it starts with the symbol hash. Then you have to use the keyword include. Then what are the libraries you want to include? Okay, here stdio.h, con.io.h. These are some sample header files used for this program. So there are a lot of header files and some other macros are available. Suppose if you want to use macros, then there is a separate directive called hash define that is used to include the macros. Then in the end of everything is available. Excuse me. Then suppose if you want to define a constant using preprocessor directive macro, then you can define, for example, hash define pi 3.14. That pi is substituted with the value 3.14 in your program. Like that, for this purpose, the preprocessor directives are used. Okay, so this is the way of declaring global constants and variables. So what are the variables declared before the main statement, main function, that are treated as the global declaration part of the C program. So the global declaration means it is visible to all parts of the program. All parts means, suppose you are having many functions inside your main function. So the execution always starts from main function, but you are having many functions for your purpose. You can write your own user-defined functions. So when you declare a variable before that main, then that variable can be used all the functions you are using inside the C program. That is the meaning of global declaration. So the global declaration can include global constant declaration, global variable declaration. Both are applicable. So here they are declaring a constant value pi. This is a predefined or the inbuilt format for defining the constant. So for that, you have to use the const keyword, const. Then what type of constant it is? So pi is decimal, having decimal value. Then it is a floating point constant. So we will see later about the data types regarding the float, int, etc. So that is the global declaration part. Then under the global declaration part, you can suppose if you are declaring, you want to use a user-defined function. Then that user-defined function signature can be given as a prototype function prototype declaration in this global declaration part. That also used, but it is an optional one. We will see later while we're discussing about function, we will see about the function prototype declaration in detail. Then the next section is main. So in C program, remember the execution is always starting from the function main. So the function main, the compiler will start executing the instructions from the body of the main. Then the next section, whatever the sections following the main, that can be considered as a local variable or constant declaration and initialization. Local variable means that is entirely different from global concept. The local variables are only local to the function where it has been defined or where they have been defined. Okay. So here the function, what is the function here? Here the main is the function. So under this main, the area and the value R is declared, not initialized. Initialization means you need to give some value. So here the two local variables are declared. So like that you can declare many local variables according to your requirements of the program. Then these are the execution part or body of the main, which contains multiple statements separated by semicolon. So main will start with the curly braces and end with the curly braces. So these are the structure of a C program. So the structures, already we have seen what are the parts. Again, we will recap. First part is documentation part, then preprocessor part, then global declaration part, main function, local declaration, then program statements. These are the parts of the structure of the C program. Okay. So when the question is asked in examination, you write all these 6 steps in detail along with a given example, sample example. Okay. Thank you.